With a fierce Taliban offensive claiming more lives in Afghanistan and counterattacks killing Taliban fighters in Pakistan, let's go now to Islamabad and talk more about Pakistan's role behind the scenes. Zahid Hussain is a journalist and the author of Frontline Pakistan, The Struggle with Militant Islam. Zahid, welcome to On the Map.
Okay, thanks very much.
We've been talking about Pakistan's dual role as sort of America's loyal ally in the war, so-called war on terror, and at the same time Musharraf having to reach his own accommodation with fundamentalists in Pakistan. Now, you're writing a book about the Taliban. What is your version of Musharraf's relationship with the Taliban?
Taliban had been able to control Afghanistan, or had established their rule largely because of the support from Pakistan. And when 9/11 happened, Musharraf was forced to abandon support for the Taliban, but it does not mean that the sympathy for the Taliban had completely gone. So this is a story of General Musharraf's problems. This is also a story about the contradiction and paradox in his policy. At one hand, a trusted ally of the United States. On the other hand, he continued to have a policy of appeasement toward the Islamic fundamentalists.
Let's talk about the autonomous regions, the Northwest Frontier Province, Waziristan, North and South, Baluchistan, where we hear that the Taliban are based. Who is in charge there? What is Musharraf doing there? What's the balance of power?
Waziristan particularly has been a kind of lawless area where Pakistani law does not apply. And 20 years ago, when Soviet occupied Afghanistan, both Pakistan and Americans had used that area to launch mujahideen inside Afghanistan to fight the Soviet forces. That link continued, and after the Taliban came to power in Afghanistan, the same area provided the fighters for the Taliban. Quite a lot of Taliban had gone from the madrasa in those areas. So after they were ousted from the power, they came to that area, and with the support of the local allies and the local militants, they actually has got a base in Waziristan. Now, what we are witnessing over, after 5 years, Pakistan had actually sent troops there. They have been fighting militants and al-Qaeda there, but basically 700 soldiers have been killed. But the result is that now that area is under the complete control of Taliban.
What I'm hearing from you is that Musharraf did try to take control of those areas, did fight Taliban there. As you said, 700 soldiers, Pakistani soldiers, have been killed there, and yet that effort has clearly failed. Why?
Most of those steps have been taken under the pressure from the United States. So basically, when the troops went inside, they were only fighting al-Qaeda. They left aside the Taliban. In fact, actually, I'll go to one step forward. It's also something as a failure of American policy in Afghanistan. When the Taliban were ousted, Americans had one-point agenda going after al-Qaeda, and same happened in Pakistan. And they never thought that the Taliban could present any threat to them. And until 2004 or 2005, when the insurgency in Afghanistan grew, then their attention was diverted to Taliban. So basically, when I'm talking about Pakistan's failure, it's also the failure of American policy in Afghanistan. Now, after 5 years, they feel that with the indiscriminate bombing of the American troops there, they are getting much more support base there, and the lots of the people of Afghanistan has not changed. So basically, what's happening now on the Pakistani side is that they are feeding on each other. The insurgency in Afghanistan has also actually encouraged the Taliban, Pakistani Taliban, in the border areas where they are basically increasing their influence, and similarly, that support base for it also provides the support base for the Taliban fighter across the border.
Zahid Hussain, thanks for being on the map.
Okay, thank you very much.
Coming up after the break, my conversation with unapologetic atheist and best-selling author Richard Dawkins. And Gaza coup d'etat. We translate another media buzzword.